Looking at the Markets with David Modell. Welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell. One of my goals for this YouTube channel is to explore every investing style, kind of like an encyclopedia of trading styles. I've made videos on everything from MACD to stochastics to Fibonacci to the Darvas box to the Gann wheel, from blue chips to Bitcoin to penny stocks, options, and everything in between. The one trading style that I have not yet explored is astrology-based investing, because, to be honest, I know absolutely nothing about it. That's why I've invited stock market astrologist Osher Elias to teach me and you about how we can look at the stars to tell us where the markets may be headed. Mr. Elias provides coaching on his website, peopleknowing.net. His Tumblr blog, astrocoaching.tumblr.com, as well as his Twitter account at astrology_stock, all located in the description of this video. Thank you so much, Mr. Elias, for joining me today on Looking at the Markets.
Hello, David. My pleasure being here.
Well, it's a pleasure to speak with you today. This is really a treat for me. It's something different, and I'm going to keep an open mind today. Now, I'd like to start at the very beginning. Mr. Elias, how did you first discover that you had a gift for coaching in the areas of astrology and stock market prediction?
Yeah, so this is a total startup for me. I was dedicating for all metaphysics stuff since I remember myself. The first book I remember myself really reading at 7, 8 years old maybe was Astrology. And I always was fascinated about understanding the life in general beyond what my family or I understood that my environment could provide me. But I really kept on being weirdo with all my curiosities into things because I really knew that this is something beyond the visible stuff, and it was kind of my theme. Anyhow, I was educated through many regular studies as engineering and business management and all this stuff just to make my parents satisfied in a way. But finally, I dedicated myself from the 27 years old being a therapist with full-time work, doing processes entirely with the life of people through interpreting the aches in body into the causes of them emotionally, mentally, etc. To myself, I always was interested with the metaphysics stuff, as I've said, and I kept on developing it through different fields like numerology and Kabbalah and all those wide fields, let's say. So, yeah, during the last 12 years, I lost until the last year. Actually, it's what will summarize a period of 12 years. I lost all my money, and the end of 2015 was the crisis of my life, and I called it like my crisis of my 40. And it was, any crisis should has a cause, and it's like beautiful saying like my 40 crisis, but the cause was my loss of my money. The last money that I decided I must risking it if I want to keep on going with my very different lifestyle, traveling all over the world with my therapies and keep on inventing or investigating my things. But astrology was always serving me to my personal stuff, and sometimes doing it for people with improving their knowledge about themselves. And yeah, I finally decided many things that after crisis, all crisis is happening for a reason, and when you are doing the right job with organizing everything inside, I see all the benefits. I've got it to my personal life. But I really remained painful with the stock market, that after 12 years of investing in different periods, the first real crisis started in 2007 when I sold my apartment in Israel and decided that I'm going to dedicate my life into traveling, and I thought that the interest in bank will give me the renting thing, because really prices were pretty much stuck for many years. In the United States, it's really started with a subprime crisis, but here, just in this crisis, people just started buying apartments, and the prices today of the same apartment that I had is already like 10 times more, and I could be very much organized economically, but it wasn't the issue. I just invested all my money there, and I started my loss in 2007. And every time I lost more, I lost more, I remained with the pain and the need to know more and to learn from my mistakes. And I started taking all the courses possible, learning from graphs, all graph analyzes with what we know, technical things. And all what I've done didn't work. And anytime I understood how the Bollinger Belts are working or the Fibonacci things, and I try to learn any formula that will be unique to me to predict what the real movement will come to happen to compensate my loss, and always failed. And against all the logic, always unexpected thing happen. Sometimes you are too emotional and you think now it's going to be worse, and then you take the money out and the stock is escaping up, and you're always kind of in this pain.
Right.
So finally, when I started really like with my last very little amount of what remained, I say to myself, I must feel the market through even just putting a little amount, like started with kind of $1,000, putting in the TVX last summer. And after a hot summer that we had, it wasn't the last summer, before the summer, that it still was kind of where we had the S&P touching the 1800, 2000. I thought, it's going to be blah blah. Everybody suspected that, expected the Trump election possibilities will fall the market, and I, parallel to this, started to search from outside of the box with the astrology and trying to interpret it, but going through history to see the things that I've realized that are happening in just a second. This is another important fact, that what actually turned my understanding and confirmed that astrology is the part. We always assumed that someone is managing the market. This is a manipulator there that when he sees in his master computer that everybody are buying, he'll just push the button and bring the bears to the market and the opposite.
Right.
And it's always had this feeling like I'm competing with people. And when I understood that it's not just 1, 2, 400,000 people, this is something beyond. This is a collective consciousness that creates the movement of the general amount of bulls and bears together to make the market to be what it is. And that understanding that is it about collective consciousness, I totally relied myself to, I released myself to the metaphysics part of it. Of course, always supporting with the technical graphs to see that I'm not that I'm related with the reality.
Sure.
But all what is the important thing with the market is about the timing, because people understand, okay, the market is high now, I buy, and those people that are daily traders or short-term traders understand that the timing is very important one, because if we are just looking on the last month, June 2017, I was saying already from the end of the last month that from today, the first day of the summer 2017, we are going to start having any bear movement, and we are just in the moment to begin that, what we will say later on. But my thought just splitted now, and I forgot
That's
what
okay.
I wanted to say.
So it's not, first of all, I think it's wonderful that you've found your purpose in life, even through hard times, through adversity. As you say, many people believe this, I believe it, that when things happen to us, it's for a reason. and you've found what it is that you really want to do and what you were born to do, I would say. Now you made a reference to what you think, or at least what you're interpreting might happen in the S&P 500 in the summer, because we're upon the summer now. It's June 2017. Are the stars aligned for hard times ahead? What do you think?
So what I see now is something that it would be worth even to show in the screen.
Sure.
That this is another application, first of all, that I will send you later.
Yes.
But is a dynamic constellation of the planets, and I analyzed the most relevant interaction and constellation of the planets that are related with money. Also in astrology, we have relation with any aspect of life. So in general, the astrology map is divided to 12 main life fields. So 12 houses, 12 signs, and are divided to different fields. The field of money, or the house of money, is the second house, and the eighth house also, which is the opposite to it. 6 months or 6 houses are separating and are related with money with different aspects. But there are more other planets that are related with money, like Venus, like Mercury, and Neptune and Uranus. Depends with what constellation they are doing. Some other stars and asteroids are not related with the market. They are we always looking on news, and we see different subjects are taking our conscious to what worry about. There is no one day without any bad news somehow. So, but speaking about the market, what affects it, I really dedicate a lot of time on inspecting the relationship from even the second world. I started seeing what happened in the world, and I was doing this comparison, working with this map that I can see by seconds and movement of dates what happened in sky through the planets that I'm interested with. And when I saw very bad constellations, I went to Wikipedia and searched what happened exactly in this day. And it started in the beginning of the 90s, Hitler entered to Austria or whatever things, and how it was impacted because the big crisis of the 29, and right, 29 it was the big crisis in the US, I think. Yeah, so
yes.
it just arrived in different timing, but finally arrived to the States, and it's all were aligned with the constellation of what I could meet, could see in application. And the interesting other thing is that people can learn it. It's like even kind of simple, because I learned that this is something that also seems like graphical, because when this is in this harmony, in looking in this application, is kind of saying red, very sharp angles, and when it's harmony, it's like green lines between those planets, and it's something that a person could configure and seeing it. But it's also interesting to understand from what aspect and what source of news is going to create. So I will speak about it in a moment after I will answer you about what happens with this month.
Sure.
Because I saw today, and this is the last video I uploaded, what's happening with the US natal chart that already explains, related with the collective consciousness, how the US will take validation with it. So today what is going to start happening is the asteroid chaos, and we can understand easily the interpretation of what chaos means, but this is the name of an asteroid, and it's going tonight at least according to the Israeli time, but the evening time in New York, starting, it arrives to 1 degree difference, but we have an orb through those angles. It's totally geometry, astrology, and when it's going to start having the orb of 2 degrees between it, and officially it will start in few hours, it will already start a big movement, and I will say in a moment what kind of movements. It's going to oppositing the Saturn. That is, Saturn now is in retreat, and the stars are going back sometimes because of the elliptic form, and from Earth we see it like going back. But the movement of the star going back, meaning a lot, has different meanings in astrology, and why it's going back and how it's going to delay us in a way. And this is already a big things to happen. The other things that are happening are bad constellation with Jupiter that is about global relationship, like all diplomatic, or we understand how today we are reading the news, Russia, United States, China, United States, and all those countries, Saudi, or whatever they are doing, and everybody today are managing the value of the countries mostly through what we know valuable, the petroleum, and all those kind of importation things.
Sure.
So I see that it's going to be, because this bad constellation have very constant placement until at least the, yeah, it's continuing. The heavy situation that I'm going to see, I expect to see already from tonight with the future contracts, but from today, officially tomorrow in the training day, are going to last at least until the end of the month. Later on, it still will be maybe a fear in the air, because still new bad constellations are participating, but some new harmony constellation coming parallel to this. So it's not going to be a big crisis yet, but it's going to be, I guess, an intense correction, because we came up very strongly, very sharply up, and we also technically can expect a correction. And when correction will come, and we know that the physical law, falling down is much quicker than climbing a mountain. And
sure.
Even now, just looking at the S&P futures, and we are just the 3 hours from the starting, now it's like down 0.21, and it's kind of the last minute, it's kind of a drop, like fall.
Yeah.
And it seems that it's already feeling like this. The collective consciousness is feeling it, and even if we see the global markets, we see that this is something happening in all over the world. And I saw yesterday, by visualizing the different nations, actually I checked just China. That's what my intuition guided me to check, and it seems that probably the problem will start deriving from there. So,
you know,
yeah.
it's funny that as you were saying that there's probably going to be a decline in the markets, literally while you were saying that, the markets dropped. Is it a coincidence, or is it in the stars?
Yeah,
I wonder.
I just see the timing. It's like a reflection about the timing.
Yeah.
And I just can now go with seconds and with minutes to see where exactly, because we are now sitting, feel very safe sitting in home, but the entire the world is moving now. The earth, the galaxy is moving. Everything is a move in every moment, and also in our body, everything is a move. People are moving. People are doing things now, and all this movement together creates movement in the collective consciousness.
Sure. It's all connected. Yeah. Let me ask you this. If someone goes to peopleknowing.net, and that's your website, and that's where you offer your services, and I'll put that link in the description of the video. If somebody signs up for a coaching session, what can they expect? What happens?
Yeah. So first of all, it's very important to mention that each person, each ingredient of the collective consciousness, the big picture, is a very small, tiny puzzle, a part of the puzzle, and has different functionality in all of this. And we have our own destiny. it's very important to get aligned with what is trend, with what is going on. You know, I just saw a talk show a few months ago about a person that I forgot everything, the name and the circumstances, but he was in jail for 20 years and it was very famous in the States. And he told about his experience that when he came out, he felt that he just arrived from another planet to the Earth. He didn't understand nothing. He felt of course, he said that he felt so horrible in jail, but when he came out, he felt even more horrible because he was totally not updated with all what happened. And we know how the technology and everything and the words we are using and all the small things that seems to us like today obvious, just he was not updated. Right. And felt very bad. So it's always in a move, and it's important that we are updated with what is going on outside. But each one of ourselves has different influence, is influenced differently from the things. So sometimes I can see people that is better for them now, if they have a lesson with money, to maybe now not to participate with a party with any trend, go up or down, because a person needs to solve something with himself. And this is a lesson in an individual level to handle with money. It's impossible that everybody on the boat will go to the same side. So in the same time, when the person is going, today I can see all my losses that were very painful. I understand what actually life wanted to teach me through all this and how to get closer into metaphysics and stuff. That it's also one of my parts seeing in astrology in my natal chart, that my aim is convert the focus in money to something that is related more with the energy of it and to work more with the consciousness. For many years I could see it but didn't know what to do with it, but it's always a process of it. So first of all, I'm always working with a person with his difficulties, with what he wants. Of course that everybody wants to do money and wants to do more. But yeah, sometimes when it's supported and the person is very open into new things and way, I'm telling that all the technical courses, reading charts and stock markets with the best tools and never helped me. I never did a penny through all applying. I was best student of thing, but I could not do money. Right. And it was very frustrating. Like the karma is against me and I didn't know, we are still alive. We have our circumstances, we have our stories, and sometimes you just need the money and it's always all misaligned with what it should be.
Sure.
So working with a person is about taking extra consciousness, understanding the dynamic, knowing himself better, and it's very important that each one of ourselves will know his weaknesses and strengths, and takes time until we take consciousness into those most important in the spiritual level of ourselves. And finally, when we are taking the consciousness to the most important points of ourselves, not just the superficial of our desires, it relates with happiness and with good health and with self-harmony. That this is the most important thing. That many cliches about money is not happiness and all this, but we deserve to get from everything. But every time we need to focus on what is important for ourselves now. So. Yeah, it's all about putting in proportion, alignment, self-alignment, and of course, a person that will dedicate the coaching with me for learning how to invest best, I first of all would need to teach him astrology, the basic of astrology. And my first course, I think this is a very unique course, the way I'm presenting it. I'm just going to come online in a week from now, and this is astrology from zero, to give the person that has no idea what astrology is to start understanding the feeling of houses, of signs, and how to look on it in a geometrical level, and to proceed from there. And I'm working very hard on the records and the way of presentation. I think it's a very relevant knowledge now, and beyond what we can collect through other normal
Right.
education.
Looking at charts all day or looking at the news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, for example, it was a big relief for myself. I consider myself a person with a very bad passion level. I want everything now. I would consider myself to be impulsive. This is another consciousness side that I, all my life, needed to calm myself. I know that I'm a very energetical person, but I needed really to apply some passion in different situations. And the market was really drove me crazy all the time. And the last 2 years, I remember myself like crazy all the time, like kind of sweaty, like can't really hold it. Always changing, and I could not really get aligned with my chart analysis.
Sure.
But for example, the last month, just I knew that June is not going to support my VIX position. That I knew that I need just to take passion, and I knew that it's not going to be interesting. And it really helped me because it really didn't go to my direction, but I could rest, focus on other things, and come back with a new attention when I saw it's ready. So, it's kind of knowing now my reservation is in a process. Someone is taking care of me, so I don't need always to see when me. Now, it's kind of giving you a sign, giving you indication.
Absolutely.
And this is about the timing. Timing is the most important thing. That this is our suffer of the human sufferness. I think is about timing. We are very anxious about time, doing quick, doing slow, whatever. The time is the thing, and to arrive in the right place. And in Hebrew, the word luck called mazal, and in America, a lot of people know mazal tov. Yeah, good luck.
Sure.
And mazal is initial of three words. The mem, the M, is meaning the makom, like place, and the zayin means zman, which means time, and the lamed, el, means lihiyot. The meaning of all this, place, timing, and lihiyot, to be, is to be on the right time, in the right place. So this is about luck. What is luck is just the person that have aligned or corrected the timing things into arriving on when he should arrive. Sometimes we arrive to a place and the person of our life should be there, but we just missed it in 5 minutes.
Sure.
And we were having no passion to stay, and etc.
Well, how about this? If somebody is watching this and they're skeptical, which I think some people will be, if they said,
Sure.
I don't believe, if somebody said, I don't believe any of this stuff, convince me that this is real. How would you persuade somebody that this astrology stock market connection is real?
Yeah. First of all, you know that astrology was very big part of the ancient times, and even the Greek people knew how to use it very much, and still we are using the names of those planets from the Greek and then the empire, the Roman Empire, until the 300 BC, AC, that the Roman Empire converted itself to Christianity. And from that time, they started, and the age of this starting was in the medieval, in the mid time of the 1000, killing all the witches or all people that worked with different spirituality that wasn't Christianity. And what they've done, and we all know from the history about the big Holocaust of the witches in Europe, and also the killing of all cats that were related with the concept of witches, and what actually brought a mouse epidemic because of the increasement of mouses in all Europe, and they stopped. And the church, actually, they wanted to dominate a specific spirituality by church, really provoked the astrology to be a superstitious or something that is non-valuable, that people just reading it horoscopically weekly to see what will happen, like this is just 12 groups of people in the world, and it's not correct. Astrology is a mathematics, and it were used also by even 1500 years before Jesus. And Abraham actually was the first astrologer, and even in his first book, the creation book, is a very short book, which based on what's the Kabbalah is basing on in their studies. He already signed all the 12 signs, and it was interesting that people that use different philosophies in this time still used it and understood it. Another Greek that was just a second, Aristocrates. I forgot the names for a second. The Greek name say that who doesn't know astrology can be doctor or medical, because he understood that he could help people with the natural medicine to understand their body through understanding their energy that is working on them. And the last thing is, even by Googling different scientists that today we are basing all the science on them, and I'm not speaking about Einstein, that was the last one, even Galileo Galilei, that the church wanted to kill him because he brought to the world a new concept that the world is around and is all connected with this different mechanism of world that today we understand it's clearly is right. Just in 1990, in Rome, they apologized by the church for what they done to Galileo Galilei, but it was, and they are all were astrologers and understood all this astronomy and science of the world through this. And all those scientists that we are basing today on, they were doctors, worked with astronomy and also astrology and mathematics. That we know that was very in a process of a very strong development. And also the ancient Islam, before it was very dark religious in a way, it was very open, and actually the algebra and all algorithm things was developed by the Muslims, by the first flow of Muslims that were still very identified with the Greek culture. And times came and just tried to delete different knowledge that were accessible for more people than before.
Sure. Sounds like there's a rich history going back to ancient times with astrology, which I think is pretty fascinating. Finally, I wanted to ask you this. How can we at home tell the difference between somebody such as yourself who has the qualifications to be a financial astrologer and somebody else who just goes on YouTube and makes up a bunch of stuff? Like how can somebody tell the difference between somebody who's real and somebody who's not?
Listen, collecting knowledge, the fact that the person would know basic knowledge about astrology and to know telling how is every sign should be like, and it's very good. The thing in astrology is not about the ability to translate or to interpret every ingredient separately. The thing is how to cook. You know, we can go shopping many different ingredients, but finally, what you are doing with all those ingredients to be a good chef or to make your guests to be very satisfied from the tests you created from very even simple things. So it's all about the interpretation of how brings all those ingredients together and how to focus it. Some people could use the astrology for a specific field and to be very specialist in it, to see the relationship inside of the body, health, and take it for medicine. And I was very passionate to understand the collective consciousness, and I'm seeing now the market like being a collective consciousness movement of what will be related with financial, that is a complete house and aspects in astrology to see how is it. So as in medicine, every person could dedicate his knowledge to something specific. Some people will just collect knowledge and will speak in general what one constellation that is going to come this week, or what specific planet is going to oppose a specific other planet, and how it's going to affect on all those group of signs of Gemini or of Capricorn, and etc. So some information are general, just to bring some knowledge, what's going to be, how going to be 2017. Some predictions are coming from different astrologers in news, and but it all depends of how, first of all, the person is really showing proofs that he's really understanding, or is really passionate about what he's saying, and is very following the things and see the relationship with it. I'm working with the individual consciousness and with the collective consciousness. So I'm helping people to be in self-alignment with themselves, with their health, with their emotions, and also relationship could be related with it, because it's not very difficult just to add on this aspect. And the financial thing is very interesting, but I'm good in it because I'm also know the market. I was dedicating so much energy, times, and nerves and emotions with all the market things, and also studying it. So seeing the relationship, and I really chose the S&P 500, that I think that is sort of presenter of what is going on in the global way.
Sure.
So it's my knowledge and empathy into those aspects, and I think that's what makes it to be a specialist in something or not.
Well, this has been a real education for me. It's something totally different than what I'm used to, and different from what a lot of people who watch my YouTube videos are accustomed to seeing, and I think it's really cool to keep an open mind and try something different. I've been speaking today with Mr. Osher Elias. He's live from Israel right now, and this has been really something special. I know that people can reach you on peopleknowing.net. How else can people contact you if they want more information?
I could, this is my email, oshercoach
Okay.
at gmail.com.
OSHERCOACH at
Yes.
gmail.com, Osher Coach. Got it. I'll put that in the description as well. This has been really interesting for me, and something new and something different, and I'm glad to be able to tap into the collective consciousness with you today. Mr. Osher Elias, thank you so much for joining me on Looking at the Markets. You're welcome back anytime, sir.
Thank you very much. Big pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.